Welcome back, folks. We are pleased to be joined once again by Kris Kolluri, CEO, Cooper's Ferry Partnership down in Camden. Good to see you, Kris.
Good to see you, Steve.
A real quick description of Cooper's Ferry.
Cooper's Ferry is a economic development and community development nonprofit that's been around for 34 years in the city of Camden.
And one of the areas, by the way, we were down in Camden, did a special about what's going on there, all the changes and a lot of the improvements. But one piece of this, COVID-19, it's almost like COVID-19 and X. COVID-19 and pollution. What is the issue and why does it matter so much in Camden?
For those who have known about Camden for a while, you've known that pollution is a problem that we've confronted with. Before I came on the show, I went on the governor's website to see some of the causes of death directly related to COVID. You look at chronic diseases, you've seen cardiovascular disease, you've seen lung disease. These are some of the causes that have directly impacted the city of Camden well before COVID. And COVID, what it's done is amplified some of these problems. And the deaths that you've seen as a result of COVID are ready and self-evident to those who live in the city.
How are you dealing? How are you and your colleagues at Cooper's Ferry Partnership helping to deal with this issue?
So there's multiple areas that Cooper's Ferry is playing a role in. Number one, we are directly helping set up COVID testing sites. We've set up 3 testing sites thus far, and over 4,500 people have been tested, 50% of which are Camden residents. Second, we have collected tangentially, but we facilitated almost 1,500 laptop purchases for high school students in Camden. Third, we think transportation, Steve, and you know I'm a transportation guy, is a very important issue for those people who need to get to jobs even in this environment, but don't have access to transportation. So we have provided free transportation through shuttle bus services for those people who need to get to job. And the final and the fourth thing is we have worked with Farmers Against Hunger in New Jersey to give out food, fresh produce to the residents of Camden.
Kris, in the limited time we have, I want to help people understand this. Camden is a unique story, and I suggest people check out our colleagues at NJ TV to find out more. They've done so many stories about Camden. Real quick on this, Camden's had protests like so many others in connection with racial injustice, racism, if you will, police-minority relations. The head of the police department in Camden was shoulder to shoulder with the protest right from the beginning?
That's right. And I think this is a direct result of the reforms, Steve, that were put into place in 2013. President Obama visited Camden and held Camden as a promise of symbol for the nation. And there's a reason for it. People are talking about disparities and social injustice and injustice in the criminal system. What the police chief and his colleagues have done is to engage the community before there was a crisis, not after there was a crisis. I think that is a direct result of community policing and making sure that the residents know the police are there as partners and not just a law and order entity that is there to solve a problem when a problem occurs.
Kris, I want to follow up on something. So many people have said what they've learned from this, what the bigger lessons are. And we're, again, in the second inning of a 9-inning game, so people who think it's on the back end, think again. Biggest takeaway for you from this COVID-19 experience to date, as we're doing this on the 16th of June?
Is the social disparities and the economic disparities that have led us to where we are today. Look, the pandemic started far away from where we live and where we work, but the impact has been completely transparent and frankly eye-opening. For those who want to see how we're going to solve this problem going forward, I think the virus in many ways, unfortunately, and in some ways instructively, given us a lens on how to bridge the socioeconomic inequities that exist in a place like Camden.
But real quick, part of this, Camden has lost some folks.
With us, and we've lost 51 residents. But I want to say this to you, Stephen. You've been a student and an observer of Newark and other cities in the state of New Jersey. The progress that Camden has made in the last 7 years is real. But we are dealing with almost 50 years of social isolation and economic disparities and social disparities. It is going to take time for us to correct, this crisis gives us a better roadmap perhaps now. And unfortunately, we had to lose 51 people in order to get to this lesson. But I think it's still a valuable lesson.
And finally, you're a nonprofit, we're a nonprofit. If we're not for corporations and foundations, where would we be?
We would be completely lost. And I will tell you, this crisis has shown where the strength of the foundations and support structures are, and the organizations that are support both our organizations count among the best, that understand their mission, but more importantly, understand what we're trying to do on the ground.
Kris Kolluri, CEO of Cooper's Ferry Partnership. Kris, all the best to you and our friends and colleagues down in Camden. Take care, my friend.
Thank you so much.
I'm Steve Adubato. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, TD Bank, Englewood Health, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the Fidelco Group, Summit City MD, United Airlines, and by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Promotional support provided by Jaffe Communications and by New Jersey Globe.